take a trip with me back in time to a simpler Boom Beach, before the days of heroes and tribes and HQs and all that kind of stuff. Let's go back to 2014, where it all began. This is Boom Beach, but not as you know it. The year is 2014, and there's a brand new game developer called Supercell who's put out a couple of games and had some success with Heyday and the big one, Clash of Clans. So Boom Beach needed to be something a little different from the norm. Boom Beach did that by giving the player the ability to control their troops and do stealth attacks with smoke and use flares and things like that. Those abilities were completely new to the mobile game scene in this, the whole base builder concept. And as we all know, it was a huge hit with the fans. Shortly after soft launch, they added in what became the core element of the game of task forces.
This will lead to the Blackguard's mainland, where you and your task force will embark on specialized and extraordinarily dangerous operations.
With the options of 5, 10, 25 or 50-man teams that could take on PvE style maps and work together to fight one of the main protagonists in the storyline, Hammerman, who, as we all know, is Dr. T's right-hand man. He features quite heavily in the game's storyline and the events and stuff that we get in the game. Hammerman's quite well known in that respect. Yeah, task forces are the player's opportunity to team up and work together to take on these operation maps and work together to take them down, strategize together, all that kind of stuff. Interestingly, as a side note for this update, they also added in the gold badges that Global Number 1 gets. The longer you hold Global Number 1 VP position 4, the more your badge evolves and gets more pieces added to it to look bigger and better. Moving into 2015, in the February of that year, seeing the introduction of the mighty Scorcher. A few of the content creators of the time, most notably Nick at Night, you've probably all heard of him, who was one of Boom Beach's biggest content creators back in the day. He used to love a good Scorcher hit. The Scorcher, of course, being a huge flamethrower attached to a tank that burns everything it touches, was an instant hit with content creators and the players of the time as well. Scorchers are probably just as popular today, if not more so, thanks to a recent HQ update, which sees us being able to carry 2 per boat. But back then, it was just 1 per boat. It cost more GBE to land. You could say that back in the day, they had it a little harder, but it is what it is. This was shortly followed by the Temple of Doom cannons update, which was actually on my birthday on the 6th of May in 2015. This introduced prototype defenses to the game for the first time, as well as a brand new baddie to the storyline of Colonel Gearhart and her war factory.
Prepare for Colonel Gearhart. Heir to Gearhart Arms Incorporated, this weapons tech mastermind brings share prices up, then knocks invaders down.
And Hammerman got his own new weekly event as well, which was Hammerman Strikes Back.
Lieutenant Hammerman is out for vengeance for all the times you've destroyed his bases. Once a week, Hammerman will gather a Blackguard fleet in your archipelago.
And also in this update in 6th of May 2015, the Critter was also added to our gunboat abilities as well. The 25th of June that year also seen us get the ability to save our base layouts via the HQ, as well as being able to share replays from your PvP map clearing sessions with your task force chat. But it wasn't until the 21st of October 2015 when we seen the first major update to our HQ max level, which was HQ 21 back then, which not only added in new levels to the HQ and all the buildings and stuff, it also introduced the new shield generators as well. For the first time, people could add a shield to their HQ via the Proto Weapons Lab for the first time. The next HQ update brought us, statue storages, a new VP rank system where we could you get different rewards daily for your VP depending on what VP level you had. We also got 10 new operation maps, and controversially for the time, Dr. T's name was changed from Dr. Terra to Dr. T. This was to be keeping it more in line with the fantasy world of the archipelago and Boom Beach, just to separate a little bit from the things that were going on in the real world around that time. Supercell wanted to, put a bit of distance between the real world and the fantasy experience in game, so they changed it from Dr. Terra to Dr. T, which we all know and love now. Jumping into 2016, the Cryoneer was added to the game in June, with the ability to also challenge your task forces to friendly battles. You can do your friendly challenge via the in-game chat. New ranks were also added to the victory point tier system. This expanded it from the lower sort of VP ranges to incorporate higher VPs that people were getting to, mostly sort of to the 2000 VP range. Also in this update, we got our frag to shard converter, where you can click on the frags in game and instantly convert them to shards. The shard to crystal converter wouldn't be introduced until much later on and wouldn't be free. It cost you 10 dimes. And also the ability to save our troop combos via the gunboat was added in this update. Although buggy to start off with, you couldn't save your hero to the loadout. A bit later in the year, in September 2016, seeing the hot pot and the grappler being added to the game, some balance changes to the cost of the protos, and splash damage was also added to the Doom Cannon, and the laser beam got a bit of a buff. Well, for December 2016, seeing the highly requested feature of more builders being added to the game in the form of the second builders subscription, which automatically renewed every 30 days, along with the instant training one as well, which also renewed every 30 days. That was later changed to one-time purchases of 30-day boosters, which is what it is now. But originally those were monthly renewing subscription services to get extra builders, which will allow you to obviously build 2 buildings at the same time for the first time ever, and get instant training, which will give you instant troops. You didn't have to wait for the troops to load. That time element was removed from the game if you bought instant training. This was good timing on that front because they introduced Forlorn Hope to operations, which was the new highest level operation you could do above massive attack. Forlorn Hope was also the point where barbed wire was introduced to the high level operations, which is now seen down as low as Dead End Deep Cut, I believe, on a few maps, but mostly on massive attack and above. You'll see barbed wire on a few different maps. First update of 2017 is undeniably a game changer. We're talking, of course, the introduction of heroes.
Greetings, fellow riflemen. So, what have we heard about these new super powerful heroes? Do they really spell doom for the bad guys like the suave and sexy Dr. T?
No idea, soldier.
Bah!
To start off with, we got Brick and Sparky, and if you were high enough level, you could get Kavan as well. Trader was also added in at the same time, and everyone noticed the similarities between the Trader and Colonel Gearhart, including her belt, which has the Gearhart symbol on. Now you know why her Trader deals are a bit pants, because she's actually a baddie. The tribes were also added in at this point, which gave the ability for higher level players to spend resources on something else other than upgrades. This was initially done to give max players something else to spend their resources on once they had no upgrades left to do.
What do we have for the high level players?
So for the high level players, we have a pretty big new feature. One of the bigger things that we've been hearing from the community is that the high level players, especially the ones who are completely maxed out, don't have anything to do anymore.
Sure.
And this has been a pain point that we would have wanted to address for a while.
As well as giving us a few extra boosts such as GBE gain or troop speed, things like that that weren't available through the normal boosts. Drives were originally received fairly well by the community and the players, although it does tend to leave a sour taste in some people's mouths every fortnight when they reset. But you can't please everyone, right? At the end of 2017, we seen proto troops added to the game for the first time. Now these things were huge back then. Start off with, we got the Lasertron, the Critter Cannon and the Rainmaker, and originally you used to buy these blueprints from the trader, who used to come around and sell you 7 blueprints, each blueprint lasting 24 hours to give you access to a specific proto troop, so for the Lasertron or Critter Cannon or whatever. This would mark the start of Supercell rolling out new temporary troops to the game, which is what they're still doing to this day. Although we do have many more proto troops now. Moving into 2018, and we see the first new high-level operation map added to the game since Forlorn Hope, and that is of course Duplexity. Duplexity was a huge game changer from the off, although it upset a large proportion of the player base because it was and is still tailored to mainly 50-man task forces because of the big, huge, really difficult maps and the double core bases that you see for the first time on Duplexity. That leaves out 5s and 10s and some almost 25-man teams unable to complete it. Duplexity was the first time we'd ever seen double core maps added to the game. Still is the only time you can see this. And Duplexity was originally supposed to drop as part of the Warships update, although it was released early because Warships had been delayed, which we were told by Drew in the 2018 dev video. They told us that the Warships would be delayed until 2019.
Welcome to the latest Boom Beach developer update video. In this video, we're going to be announcing a brand new feature for Boom Beach. It's going to be called Warships. So before we go any further in this video, we just want it to be very open and transparent with you guys. Because Warships is something that takes the whole team's entire focus and requires a lot of development time, we will not be releasing any more updates until Warships is out. Warships is going to be out sometime in early 2019.
And moving into 2019, Warships would be rolled out and be met with quite a lot of criticism to start off with from players who've been waiting 2 very long years for content. Although Warships wasn't exactly what everybody wanted, core idea and stuff is solid. It did have quite a lot of bugs and teething problems very early on, which put a lot of people off from playing it, unfortunately, although Warships is still very popular to this day. Later in the year, Warships would see its first Warships only troop added to the game. We're talking obviously about the Bombardier. Who was so well received by the community and the players who absolutely loved him from the first day. Supercell did then agree to add him to the main game later in the year. The next Warships only troop added to the game was obviously the flying troops, the heavy chopper and the rocket chopper. Again, very, very well received by the community. Most players love them and would love to see them added to the main game. However, Supercell have decided against this and added them as part of the proto troop cycle that we get a different proto troop every month. We now see the heavy chopper and the rocket chopper come to the main game once a month, every few months. Later in the year in 2019, we got HQ23, and with HQ23 came the Bombardier to the main base, as I was saying a minute ago. It was with the HQ23 update that he was brought over and become a staple of most people's loadouts. If you don't use Scorchers, you probably use Bombardiers. 2020 then seen the HQ24 update, and we got a new troop with this one called the Mech.
I think it's a Pelican.
I don't know. Maybe something bigger.
Nah. That's definitely a big Pelican.
Or a 12-foot tall mech made entirely of steel with Gatling guns for arms.
I told you it was a Pelican.
Most people would agree that the mech is somewhat underwhelming. Also in this update we got classified items, which was An interesting little idea added to the game where you could use your submarine and discover these classified items, which would fill your gold storages to max, or would instantly finish an armory upgrade, or instantly finish a building upgrade. Something like that. Instead of using diamonds, you could use these classified items to do those things. 2021 would see us get HQ 25, but for some reason Supercell thought it was a good idea to release this update in 3 separate parts. But all the update actually brought was more levels to the existing buildings that we already had. It didn't add any new content as such, no new troops or anything. The only thing that actually changed in this update was the color of the base of the buildings. So that's really all that came with the HQ 25 update, was more of the same of what we've already had. And that brings us into 2022, looking at 2023. Going forward, there's been nothing as of yet added to the game this year, although we have been told that things are being worked on behind the scenes and stuff. So we are looking at a to be continued end to this story. So make sure you stay tuned to all the BoomTubers. We will of course bring you all the latest news and updates and information about the game going forward as and when we can. I hope you've enjoyed this little trip down memory lane. I enjoyed researching this one. I actually found out quite a few little things about the game that I didn't know before. Obviously the artwork from back then is very, very different. But anyway guys, help us out, smash the like and subscribe. Huge thank you to our Patreon supporters and channel members. Without you guys, we couldn't do what we do. If you're interested in supporting the channel, you can do that. You can check out the join button or the Patreon, or just use code BBTFRG. We really appreciate all the support from you guys. You are all absolute legends. But that's it for this one guys. I will catch you in the next one. Thank you for watching again. Peace.